For those of you who don't know, I am quite a big fan of Pokémon. While I was introduced to the series later than most, I've been a big fan of the series ever since. Over the years I've watched a lot of different Pokémon content, but some of my favourite has always been Pokémon challenges, specifically by a content creator called Mah-Dry-Bread. For the better part of the last 5 years or so, I've been watching his Pokémon challenges, where he mainly attempts to beat one of the Pokémon games with a team of only one Pokémon. After watching him do so many of these, I figured, why not give it a try? And so that's why today we'll be finding out whether I can beat Pokémon Scarlet with a team of only one Flamigo. Overall, Flamigo was a pretty good flying and Ice type Pokémon with solid attack and speed. By level up it learns some pretty okay moves, but nothing amazing. Approach Up would be nice for dealing with Psychic types, but other than that its strongest moves are either inaccurate, deal recoil, or use its mediocre special stat. Well, I'm a bit worried about the lack of any good fighting moves. Looking at the list of TMs, some things start to look a little bit better. I'm thinking Liquidation and maybe Fly might be good to learn for their solid damage, but even now I'm not seeing any particularly great fighting moves outside of close combat. That could be really risky because it lowers my defences. Acrobatics could be a good choice, but then I'd have to give up a held item which could cause a lot of issues. Also, I'm going to be writing this script as I go through the challenge, though this part is being written before I've even started, so throw a comment down below guessing whether I win or not. I'm pretty sure I should be able to win, but I'm not looking forward to the Electric type gym, or the Fairy type Team Starbase, not to mention the final fight against Professor Sada. Now for the rules. In combat I can only use Flamigo unless forced to otherwise, like in the final fight against Professor Sada. No glitches or exploits, no items and battles, only Pokeballs and items outside of combat are allowed. And also, no Trustalization, let's keep things a bit more interesting. Also, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe and let me know if you want to see more of this kind of stuff. Now without further ado, let's get started. Since I don't know how to mod my Switch, I need to catch my Flamigo when it becomes available. But first, I need to choose my starter. I decided to go with Quaxly as my starter, so in a mode I would end up with Skeledirge, which is probably the hardest for us to fight. After some early battles, I'm finally able to go and catch our Flamigo. Once I catch it, I name it Flamingo, because I'm hilarious. Then I put Quaxly into the PC, never to be seen again. Now let's have a look at Flamingo's stats. Honestly, this is pretty much exactly what I was hoping for. Not only nature gives it increased attack and decreased defense, when it's not the best, I got the attack increase, which is what I wanted. Plus I can always change it with a mint later on if I need to. Its ability is Scrappy, which lets us hit ghost types with normal and fighting moves. It also makes us completely immune to Intimidate. That's probably the best ability we could have gotten. Being immune to Intimidate will definitely be a massive help with stopping our attack from being lowered, and being able to hit ghost type Pokemon with normal and fighting moves could really come in handy before we get Throat Chop. With Flamigo now caught, we continued on our way to the school, making sure to battle any trainers we came across to get some extra money and XP. Just before we went to the town though, we got stopped by Nemona for a rival battle. The battle itself was pretty easy, but that's mainly because Flamigo is much stronger than most Pokemon at this stage of the game. After beating Nemona, we finally made it into the town and started heading over to the school. On our way out to the school though, we end up meeting a girl with an Eevee backpack being harassed by Team Star, who we make short work of. After that, we finally made it into the school, and after some time had passed, we can finally get this challenge underway. At this point, we get to choose what we want to do based on the 3 main quest lines in the game, those being Victory Road, Path of Legends, and Starfall Street. Victory Road is where all the gyms and the champion-related challenges are, Starfall Street is where we battle against the evil team, and Path of Legends is where we battle powerful Titan Pokemon. While we can technically take these on in any order, they each have set levels, so to help guide me, I'll be using this map here. So with that in mind, I decided to travel over to Cartondo first to face the Bug Gym, as it's the lowest level of everything available. Travelling in this game is a little bit different from other Pokemon games, since you aren't restricted to a set path or route. Because of this, it's quite easy to arrive at the next town without going into a single battle and ending up pretty underleveled. While this isn't a problem right now because of how much stronger Flamigo is compared to everything else we're fighting, it may cause problems later on. So to make sure I stayed at a reasonable level, I made sure to battle any trainers and Terradons I found along the way. Once I made it to Cartondo, I was ready to take on the gym, but before I could do that, I had to complete the gym challenge. In this game you have to beat a gym challenge before you can take on a gym leader, but these challenges are usually quite easy to beat though. For the Bug Gym, we have to complete the Olive Roll, which is essentially just us pushing a giant olive through an obstacle course and getting it into a giant basket at the end. With the gym challenge done, it's time to fight the gym leader Katie. Considering Flamigo is a flying type and is significantly stronger than the Pokemon in the gym, I can't imagine us struggling that much. Yeah, I was right, the gym was a breeze, we didn't even get hit. To be honest, I'm not expecting things to get difficult until around the third gym, or maybe the dark type Team Starbase, but we'll have to see. The next gym is the grass gym over in Artisan, but before we go there, we've got to fight the first of the Titan Pokemon, the Stony Cliff Titan, Clorf. Each Titan battle consists of two phases, one where you're by yourself and the Titan is weaker, and the other where it powers up, but you do have Arven to help you. Since Clorf is a rock type, it could be quite dangerous if it hits us with a rock move, but it shouldn't be too bad, especially once we have Arven to help us. Yep, just like Thorpe. Flamigo beat the first phase with one low kick, then we took down its second phase with a crit low kick which left it in red, then followed up by a double kick to finish it off. We didn't even need Arven's help in the end. At the moment we're really flying through this, though I'm worried we're going to hit a brick wall pretty soon. Anyway, with Clorf beat, Koraidon gained the ability to sprint, making our travels much easier. Next we're heading to Artisan to fight the grass gym. Luckily Artisan is right next to where we fought Clorf, so we can just head straight there. For the grass gym challenge you need to find 10 Sunflora around the town. They have random spawns each time, but they're usually either out in the open or hiding in a maze. The main downside of this challenge is the complete lack of frame rate. Anyway, once I found other Sunflora, it was time to fight the grass gym leader, Brazius. Honestly, I imagine this will go about the same as the bug gym. Yeah, that was easy. The whole gym was a sweep with wing attack. We only got hit once, and that was by a weak Trailblazer from his Terragrass Sudowoodo. The challenges were pretty easy up until now, though I imagine this is where things are gonna start getting more difficult, especially with the electric gym coming up. But before that, we have another Titan battle. This time it's up against the open sky Titan, Bombardier. I can't imagine this fight being too bad, considering how we've been doing recently as well. Well, I was very wrong. I somehow forgot that Bombardier is a flying type, and the fact that it has wing attack and pluck that deal over half our health in damage. I tried a few times, but we can't even make it past the first phase right now. Maybe after a few levels when we're a bit faster and hit harder. Luckily Bombardier isn't our only option at the moment, so I decided to head to the first of the Team Star bases, the Dark type base instead. Pretty similar to how the gyms work, we also have to complete a challenge before we can take on the leader of a Team Star base. But these challenges are much easier, considering all you have to do is use the Let's Go feature to take out 30 Pokemon in 10 minutes, which is always super easy to do. We do need 3 Pokemon to do that though, so I went and caught 2 low level Magikarp since they can only use Splash and can't fight. While I was battling the Pokemon, I made sure to knock out the Magikarp I had, just to make sure they weren't a part of the battle that was about to happen. With the challenge beaten, it was time to face Gaikumo, the Dark-type Team Star leader. Yeah, he was really easy. His Pawniard went down with one double kick, then next up is his Revavroom. It's faster than us, but only hit us with a weak Swift. Low kick took it down to half health. He used Metal Sound, but it was too late to have any effect. One more low kick finished it off. Gaikumo's Revavroom can be quite dangerous thanks to Metal Sound, but I guess he just didn't want to use it until it was too late. Oh well. With Gaikumo beaten, we now have a choice between Bombardier or the Electric Gym. But there's no way I can beat the Electric Gym if I can't even beat Bombardier yet. So we're heading back there. On the way there though, I picked up a Quick Claw and gave it to Flamigo to see if that helps us outspeed it. Well, turns out I didn't need the Quick Claw in the end. We're faster than Bombardier now and are able to take down phase 1 with just 2 wing attacks, though it still hits us for over half a health with Pluck. The second phase is where things got interesting. There wasn't a chance to heal in between the phases this time, so we went into the fight with half health, so we would only take 1 hit to take us down. Still, we're faster than it, so we got in a good hit with wing attack while it only used Torment. We had to use low kick thanks to Torment, which left it in red before it took us down with Pluck. I thought the battle was over, but apparently, even if we ran out of Pokemon, as long as Arven still had his Pokemon out, the fight doesn't end. This meant that even though Flamigo fainted, the battle didn't end. Arven did waste a few turns using Rock Polish, but eventually he used Smackdown which finished it off. That was a strange fight, but a win's a win I guess. It's good to know that Arven can still finish a fight even if I faint. They may come in handy against the other Titans later on. Once Bombardier was defeated, Koraidon also got the ability to swim, meaning we can cross the water now. Looking at the map, the next lowest level things that we can take on are the Electric Gym and the Fire Team Starbase, but to be honest, I don't think we're ready for either. We're really under level for the Fire Team Starbase right now, and we're weak to the Electric Gym. Between the two, the Electric Gym is a lower level, so I think I'll head over to that next and see how we hold up. But before we could challenge the gym, we got stopped by Nemona, who, despite my best efforts, forced us to battle her. First up is a Rockruff, which went down with one double kick. Next up, Ormy, who we took out with a double kick as well, but we got paralysed from static. Last is our Crocodile, but we were fully paralysed and got taken down with 2 Incinerates. We just got unlucky there. I have a Cherry Berry lying around, so I'll give it to Flamingo to deal with that paralysis. There we go. The fight went pretty much the same, except the berry healed our paralysis, letting us beat a Crocodile with a few wing attacks. After beating Nemona, it was time to fight Iono, the electric type gym leader. The gym challenge this time is essentially a game of Where's Wally, where you need to find Director Clavel hidden somewhere in a scene. Now, finding Director Clavel is pretty easy. The difficult parts comes with the battles in between. Usually these battles are pretty easy, but we're weak to all of their Pokemon, which means things are much more difficult than usual. In the first battle, Luxray managed to just barely survive a low kick, and then hit us with Spark and get us down to just 4 HP, while also paralysing us. We took it out the next turn, but the problem is we can't heal in between the battles with this, so we're not only stuck in red health, but we're also stuck paralysed for all the remaining battles. The next trainer started off with a Dynamo, which was faster than us thanks to paralysis, and hit us with Tackle. I thought it was over, but we somehow managed to live on 1 HP before taking it out with a double kick. Next up was Flappy, who could have finished us off with a Sneeze if it wanted to, but instead it just used Cotton Spore twice and never actually hit us, letting us narrowly win the fight with 2 low kicks. Considering we only won that battle thanks to the luck of the gods, I don't think we stand a chance against Iono, but I guess we'll see. Yeah, we got completely destroyed. I gave Flamingo a Cherry Berry again in case I got paralysed, but Iono's Watchel used Pluck and ate the berry before we had the chance to use it. We took it down with a couple wing attacks, but next up was Bellibolt, and we just didn't stand a chance. Bellibolt has the ability Electromorphosis, which doubles the power of the Pokemon's next electric type attack if it gets hit. This means it can easily one-shot us if we can't take it out in 1 hit, and we are nowhere near doing that yet. The worst part is that this isn't even the main threat on Iono's team. Since we don't stand a chance yet, I decided to try my luck at the Fire-type Team Starbase first to see how that goes. Before we can challenge the leader of the Team Starbase, we've got to deal with the Horde of Pokemon. So once that was done, it's time to challenge Mela, the Fire-type Team Star leader. Yeah, we're not ready for this either. She starts off with a Torkoal which sets up the sun, making all her Fire-type moves 50% more powerful. That combined with how tanky Torkoal is means we just don't do enough damage yet. Looks like we need to level up before we're able to beat either Iono or Mela. Luckily, I've been collecting a lot of XP candies from the Pterodons, so getting the levels we need will be pretty easy. I decided to get Flamingo up to level 30 and try fighting Mela again. But before that, I also used an Adamant Mint to change the nature of Flamingo so its special attack is decreased instead of its defense, which should hopefully let us take a few hits a bit better. I also gave him a Quick Claw as the Riverroom has speed boost, so this might help us outspeed it if we need. Well, we managed to beat Torkoal this time, but we end up with just above red health by the time we beat it, and we just get one-shot by the Riverroom afterwards. We need to take out the Torkoal with 2 hits at least if you want to even stand a chance. I decided to get Flamingo up to level 35 and give it another shot. After 2 attempts, this is how it went. I ended up teaching Flamingo Bulk Up as well to improve its defense and attack. After 2 Bulk Ups, Torkoal was a one-shot with Low Kick. Next up was Riverroom. It hit us with a Blazing Torque, but it barely did anything. 2 Low Kicks could get down. I'm feeling much more confident about the Electric Gym now, so let's see how that goes. First up was Watchel, and since it can't do too much damage to us, I decided to use Bulk Up twice to help us deal with the Bellibolt. After we set up, we were able to take it out with 1 Wing Attack, followed by her Bellibolt and Luxio with just 1 Low Kick. Finally it was her Terra Electric Mismagius. Pokemon is dangerous because it has no weakness thanks to Levitate. We took it to half health with Low Kick, but it used Confuse Ray to make us confused. We then hit ourselves thanks to Confusion and got hit with Charge Beam, leaving us just above red health. Lucky the next turn we hit through the Confusion and finished it off, winning us the fight. If we'd hit ourselves again, then we definitely would have lost that. Next up we have a choice between the Steel Titan, the Water Gym, or the Poison type Team Starbase. Each of these are around the low level 30 mark, so we're a pretty good level for them at the moment. I'm going to head to the Steel Titan first, because that's right next to the Electric Gym. Plus I'm strong against it, so it should be pretty easy. Before that though, I went and bought a Sharp Beak and a Muscle Band to boost the power of my flying and physical moves. I figured they could come in handy later on down the line. With that out of the way, it's time to fight Orthworm, the Steel Titan. Yeah, we destroyed it. After playing a bit of cat and mouse, we eventually cornered it. Low Kick was way too much for it to handle. 1 hit for the first phase and 2 for the second. Easy. Once the fight was done, Koraidon also got the ability to jump higher, making travelling much easier. Since we're pretty close to the Poison type Team Star base, I figured I would head there next. Before I head over there though, I went and gathered the materials I needed to craft a TM for Acrobatics. Acrobatics will let me hit very hard as long as I'm not holding an item. It might get to a point where I need an item for a fight, but for now it'll be one of our strongest moves. With the prep for the fight done, it's time to fight Atticus, the Poison type Team Star boss. It took a few attempts, but we eventually managed to beat him. He starts off with a Skuntank, which uses Toxic right off the bat, which essentially guarantees our loss, so I gave Flamingo a Petra Berry to clear the poison. Other than Toxic though, Skuntank isn't too dangerous, so I set up 2 bulk ups against it, then took it out with Acrobatics. Next up is Muck, which also goes down with one Acrobatics. Next is Reverie, who will use a one-shot with Low Kick, and finally is his final Starmobile Reverie. Yes, he has 2 of them. It hits us with a Noxious Talk, but it barely does anything, as we take it down to half health with Acrobatics. One more Acrobatics takes it down. Next up is Kofu, the Water Gym leader, and I'm feeling pretty confident. We're a higher level than his team, and with bulk up, we should be able to easily beat him. Once we get there, we see Kofu run off out the gym to the marketplace in the nearby town, but he left his wallet, so we're tasked with bringing it to him. So once we travel through the desert and deal with a particularly arrogant trainer, we give him his wallet and he gives us the gym challenge, which is to win a bid on some ingredients. I just have to say, by the way, isn't our character like 10? I've been allowed to take part in auctions. Okay, so I just looked this up, but apparently in Spain, which is where the Paldea region is based, you can participate in an auction at any age, which is fair enough. Anyway, he gives us some money and we go win the bid, completing the gym challenge. Now it's back to Cascarapa to battle Kofu. Yeah, this one wasn't too bad. First up is Veluza, who went down in 2 acrobatics, but I did manage to get a hit off. Next up is Rock Trio, which managed to make us flinch with Headbutt. The second Headbutt got us down to half health before we took it out with acrobatics. Last up is Terra Water Crabominable, which we get into red health with acrobatics as it misses a Crab Hammer. One more acrobatics took it out. I'm pretty sure that Crab Hammer would probably have taken us down if it hit, so it's a pretty good thing it missed. Looking at the map, the next best option we have is Larry, the normal type gym leader, which should be pretty easy considering we're a fighting type. Once we arrive in Medali, we meet Nimona, who says she'll be challenging us to a battle after we beat the gym, so we've got that to look forward to. But before that, we have a gym challenge. This time we need to order a secret menu item from a restaurant by finding clues around the town. To find the clues, we need to battle other trainers taking part in the gym challenge. They are mostly easy except for one trainer with a Greedent, who took a few attempts to deal with. Okay, can I just talk about this stupid Greedent for a second? He knows counter, and because Greedent has a stupid amount of health and defense, I could never take it out in one hit. But counter would always one-shot me. I had to chip it down with low kick just so it wouldn't instantly take me out, and it still got me down to only 3 HP when I won. Anyway, with all the clues gathered, we headed into the restaurant and ordered the secret item, completing the challenge. Now it's time to fight Larry. It took a couple tries, mainly due to us getting paralysed by a Dunsparce, but in the second try we used bulk up against his Komola and took it out, but not before it used Yawn, meaning we're asleep against the Dunsparce. We got hit with Horn Drill twice, one of them being a crit, leaving us in red health, before waking up and taking it down with acrobatics. Last up was his Terra Normal Staraptor, which went down with 1 acrobatics. I have no idea how we outsped the Staraptor, by the way, but it wins a win. But before we even got a chance to leave the gym, we got ambushed by Nimona, who immediately challenged us to a battle. First up is her Lycanroc, who's a one-shot with low kick. Next up is Pormo, who also went down with an acrobatics. Gumi is next, but 1 acrobatic takes it down. Finally, it's her Terrifier Skeledirge. We hit it with acrobatics to take it to half health, as it hits us with Torch Song, taking us down to just above red health. 1 more acrobatics takes it down. That wasn't too bad, but I know how dangerous Skeledirge can be, especially after a Torch Song or 2. That thing could cause us some real problems later on down the road. With Nimona dealt with, it looks like our next best choices are the 3 final gyms and the Ground Titan. Since the Ground Titan is nearby, I'll head over to that first and see how it goes. Well, that went well. Great Toss does hit us decently hard with Rapid Spin and Brick Break, but we hit harder. A couple acrobatics took out its first phase, and the second phase went pretty much the same. A few acrobatics took it down. With Great Toss beaten, Koraidon gains the ability to glide, which will make it even easier to get around. Next up I get to choose between the Ice, Psychic and Ghost type gyms. Out of the three, the Ghost Gym will probably be the easiest, considering it's the only one not super effective against us. It's a bit of a pain to get to, but that's our best bet for now. First up was the gym challenge, which was pretty easy, we just had to beat 3 regular trainers. The battles in the gym are double battles though, so I did have to bring out one of the magic carps from a Team Star base attacks. But once they were dealt with, it was time to face Rhyme. That was actually more difficult than I thought it would be. Rhyme's Banette knows Icy Wind, and while it doesn't do too much damage by itself, the damage does add up over time if I don't deal with it quickly. This battle also has a unique mechanic, where every time a super effective move is used, the person who uses it gets a buff. Another problem was her Houndstone, which knew Play Rough, which hit like an absolute truck. It took a few attempts to win, but I eventually chose to give Flamingo some leftovers, and used Bulk Up against a Mimikyu and Banette. Banette went for Sucker Punch, which did nothing since I wasn't attacking, while Mimikyu took out Magikarp with Slash. I then took out Banette with Payback, as Mimikyu hits us with a weak Slash. Houndstone's out next, but Payback takes it out thanks to the attack buff I got from taking down Banette. Mimikyu crits us with Slash, but it still doesn't really do too much. After another attack buff, her Terra Ghost Toxtricity is out, but one Payback takes it down. Mimikyu uses Light Screen, but it's way too late for that to matter. It survives a Payback thanks to its ability, but one more takes it out. With Rhyme beat, we can now choose between the Ice and Psychic gyms, but I don't really think we're going to be ready for either one. We're weak to both of the gyms, and while we're also strong against the Ice gym, they're a much higher level than we are. For now, I'll give the Ice gym a try since it's nearby and I can just fly over there. Before we get to challenge the gym though, Lamona challenges us to a battle, and let me tell you, this battle is rough. First up is a Lycanroc, which hits us with a Rock Slide. We take it out with a low kick though. Next up is Pawmot, which hits us with Spark, leaving us on red HP before one Acrobatic takes it down. We take out our Sliggoo with one Acrobatics, but next up is our Skeledirge, and we don't stand a chance. Skeledirge is really bulky and hits like a truck. Our Acrobatics didn't even get it to half health. We also don't really have a chance to set up any bulk ups in the fight, because Lycanroc and Pawmot hit us too hard, and by the time we get to Sliggoo, we have way too little health left. Since we can take most of our team out in one hit, we may have to be faster than our first 2 Pokemon to win. I'll get myself up to level 50 and see if that makes any difference. At level 50 we're still not faster than her Lycanroc, but we are faster than the Pawmot now, so we get to Sliggoo with more health. I tried using Bulk Up on Sliggoo, but we were hit with Dragon Pulse, which meant we got one shot by Skeledirge. The next try I didn't use Bulk Up, so we got Skeledirge with more health. We managed to tank a Torch Song and took it out with 2 Acrobatics. Yeah, I'm really not looking forward to the final rival battle if this is how they're going now. With Nemona dealt with, we can go and challenge the Ice Gym. But at first is the Gym Challenge. The Gym Challenge this time is just to slide down a hill and go through all the golden time, which is pretty hard to fail if I'm being honest. With the Gym Challenge out of the way, it's time to fight Grusha. It took a few tries, but honestly the fight wasn't too bad. First up is Frostmoth, who I have to take out straight away or it will set up a Tailwind, which doubles the speed of the rest of his team, making the fight completely hopeless. Her Acrobatics took it out. Next up is Beartic, who's a one-shot with Low Kick. I did try setting up Bulk Up a few times on him as well, but we ended up way too weak for the rest of his team. So Titan was up next, who was a one-shot with Low Kick as well. And finally, it's his Terra Ice Altaria. He went down with 2 Acrobatics. Before we face the gym, first we need to do a Gym Challenge. The Psychic Gym Challenge is essentially a game of Simon Says, with a few battles sprinkled in. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, this one is the worst Gym Challenge by far. It takes so long and it's so boring, especially with the fact that the frame rate drops while doing it. But anyway, with that out of the way, it's time to face Tulip. Well, that was a lot easier than I thought it would be. Since this is a Psycho-type gym, I figured we would really struggle here, but no. Her Farigiraf went down with 1 Throat Chop, and Gardevoir and Espartha both went down in 1 Acrobatics. Her Terra Psychic Florges survived a Throat Chop and nearly took us out with a Moonblast, but 1 more Throat Chop took him out. With Tulip beaten, we finished off the last of the gyms, but we still have a bit of work to do before we fight the Elite Four. Right now we've still got 1 more Titan left, as well as 2 Team Star bases. The Titan battle shouldn't be too difficult to deal with, but the last Team Star bases are another story. The lowest level one is a Fairy base. Problem is, we're very weak to Fairy, and unlike for the Psychic Gym, we don't have anything to counter them. But the real problem is the Fighting base. Their Revavroom has the ability Stamina, which increases their defense after every hit, meaning the longer the fight goes on, the harder it will be for me to deal with them. For now, I'll go deal with the final Titan. I'll worry about the Team Star bases after that. Yeah, that was pretty easy. Dodozo went down with a few acrobatics, but its Aqua Tail did hit us pretty hard. Phase 2 went pretty much the same, though we were put down to just 5 health afterwards. This item battle is pretty unique though, but it does have a third phase against Tatsugiri as well. Tatsugiri did hit us pretty hard with Icy Wind and Muddy Water, but a few acrobatics and takedowns from me and Arven took it down. With those two beaten, all of the Titan battles are done, and Koraidon gets his final ability, which is to climb walls. All that's left for the path of Titan's quest line is to beat Arven, but first we've got to deal with the last two Team Star bases. Fairy bases are lower level, but they have the type advantage over us. We do have a type advantage over the fighting type base, but they have a stronger team, and are a higher level as well. I'll head to the fairy base first, but I think I'll need to level up anyways before I can beat either one. On my way over there, I actually ended up finding a shiny Cubchoo, which I managed to catch, so that's pretty cool. Just before I challenged the base, I went and caught another Magikarp because one of the ones I had before leveled up a bit too much and learned Tackle, and I wanted to keep the integrity of the challenge. With that out of the way, it was time to fight Ortega. Yeah, we got completely destroyed. Play Rough does way too much damage, and Azumarill and Wigglytuff are very bulky. I won't be able to win this one until I can at least one-shot those two. I'm going to head over to the fighting base and see how I do there. That actually wasn't too bad, to be honest. I managed to get a bulk up off on Toxicroak, then took it down with Acrobatics. Next up was Annihilate, which managed to get off an Ice Punch to get us down to a third health before we took it down with Acrobatics. Lucario was a one-shot with Low Kick, and Passimian went down with one Acrobatics. Last were the fighting type Riverboom. We hit an Acrobatics which got it down to a third, then it hit us with Spin Out for a Sliver. One more Acrobatics finished it off. All that's left now is Ortega. I don't think we're quite ready for it yet since I haven't gotten that much stronger since the last attempt, but I'll give it another shot. Well, we got further than before. We got very lucky and Azumarill missed their play rough, letting us beat it without getting hit. Wigglytuff is now a one-shot with Acrobatics, and next up is Dash Bun, who hit us with a play rough, getting us just below half health. Finally is his fairy type Riverboom, and we just don't stand a chance. Magical Talk hits way too hard for us to handle, and we don't hit hard enough. I'm going to level Flamingo up to about 60 and see how we do then. We're pretty close now. Azumarill is still a two-shot, but it starts using Charm which lowers my attack by 2 stages, making us completely useless. I had one attempt where I had to keep using Bulk Up just to try and get my attack back to neutral because of how many times I was constantly being hit with Charm. I decided to use the last of my rare candies to get us up to 63 and try again. Well, that went better. We're now able to one-shot both Azumarill and Wigglytuff with Acrobatics. I set up a few bulk ups on Dash Bun, and we got very lucky as it missed Play Rough twice, but it did lower our attack. By the time I took it out, my defense was up by 3 stages and my attack was up by 1, and I was also on full HP. With all of this, the Riverboom didn't stand a chance, and I took it out with 2 Acrobatics. Now that Ortega is defeated, all that's left are the Elite Four, the Champion, and the final bosses of each questline. Next, I'm going to go face the Elite Four and the Champion, as they're the lowest levels. These are the stats going into the Elite Four. Our attack's pretty good, and our speed is decent, though not the best. I do wish I had a better fighting move, but the only option is Close Combat, which lowers my defense stats, which is way too risky for me to use. I think we stand a pretty decent chance as we are now. I wouldn't be surprised if I need to level up a bit more. Let's see how this goes. First up is the Ground-type trainer, Rika. Yeah, this first try didn't really go very well. We end up getting taken out from a combination of Future Sight from Wishcash, Stone Ash from Domfan, and Rock Slide and Sucker Punch from Dugtrio. Pretty annoying, but I can definitely see a win here. I'm going to give it a few more tries. 4 tries later and we got a win. First we sent out Wishcash, which uses Future Sight while we set up a bulk up. Then we one-shot it with Acrobatics. Next up is Camera Up, who's a one-shot with Acrobatics as well. But we get hit with Future Sight, bringing us down to just above half health. Domfan's up next, who has Sturdy. He survives but misses a Stone Edge. We then take it down with a Low Kick. Next is Dugtrio, who's faster than us. It sets up a Sandstorm which we take it out with Acrobatics. Last up is Terror Ground Clodsire. We set up one more bulk up while it goes for Liquidation, doing a Sliver. When Acrobatics takes it down. Next up is the Steel type trainer, Poppy. Before I get into the fight, can I just ask, Gita treats all the gym leaders and Elite Four like employees, so where exactly does Poppy belong in all this? Like, is Gita using child labour? I get Poppy is a strong trainer and all, but she's still very much a child. I mean, seriously, I looked it up, and she's 9. So what kind of place is Gita running here? Jesus. Anyways, first up is Copper Raja, who goes down in one Low Kick. The Corviknight is another story. We deal just under half its health with a low kick, and it does around 3/4 of our health with Brave Bird. The recoil it takes means we can take it down, but we are really low on health. Next up is Magnezone with Sturdy, so it lives on 1 HP no matter what I do. Then it just takes us out with Tri Attack. That was rough. I think there's a way around this, but I'm not 100% sure. I'll keep at it for a while and see how it goes. 2 tries later, and we got insanely lucky. I gave Flamingo a muscle band to boost its attack, since we weren't really using acrobatics in the fight. First up is Copperaja, who was a one-shot with low kick. Second is Corviknight, who lives on half HP after a low kick. Then it hits us with Brave Bird, bringing us down to a quarter. We then finish it off with another low kick. Next is Magnezone, who lives on 1 HP thanks to Sturdy. I thought it was over, but then she used Light Screen, making their team stronger against special moves. But since we don't have any special attacks, it doesn't really affect us, like, at all. One more low kick and it went down. Next was Bronzong, who survived a throat chop as it went to hit us with Zen Headbutt. But thanks to the luck of the gods, it missed, letting us finish it off with one more throat chop. Last was Terra Steel Tinkaton, who went down in 1 low kick. I have no idea how we won that. Both Magnezone and Bronzong should have easily been able to take us down. But hey, I won't complain. Next up is Larry, the flying type trainer. Can I also just say again, what is up with Geeta? First child labour, now poor Larry is being massively overworked. I mean, seriously, someone really needs to look into her business practices. Anyway, first up is Tropius, who's an easy one-shot with acrobatics. Second is Staraptor, who survives acrobatics on a sliver, then brings us down to just 16 HP with Brave Bird, finishing itself off in the process. Next is Altaria, who barely survives acrobatics, then takes us down with Moonblast. I'm definitely close to being able to one-shot Staraptor on Altaria. Maybe if I can get a bulk up off on Tropius. 2 turns later, and this is how it goes. First is Tropius, who uses Air Slash and flinches us. Next turn we manage to get a bulk up off, while another Air Slash brings us down to just 16 HP before Acrobatics takes us down. Up next is Staraptor, who's a one-shot with Acrobatics as well as Altaria. Next up is Oricorio, who survives a throat chop and gets us with a Tita Dance, so now we're confused. One more throat chop finishes it off. Finally, it's Larry's own Flamigo, who's Terra Flying. Luckily, we broke through the confusion just in time and took it out with 1 Acrobatics. If we'd hit ourselves even once through that confusion, we would have lost the whole fight. But hey, won't complain. Now for the final Elite Four member, the Dragon-type trainer, Hassel. Yeah, we don't stand a chance against him. We can't even get past his first Pokemon, Noivern. It's faster than us and takes it out with 2 Air Slashes. Acrobatics does get it to red health, but we just can't take it out. I can't use any held items because that will make Acrobatics weaker and my other moves won't hit as hard. I'm going to go grind up to about level 70 and see how we do. Once I was level 70, I went back and tried again. First up is Noivern, who decided to start using Super Fang for some reason instead of Air Slash. It put us just above half health as we took it out with Acrobatics. Next is Dragalge, who was a one-shot with Acrobatics, followed by Flapple and Haxorus, who both went down with 1 Acrobatics. Last up is his Terra Dragon Baxcalibur. He survived a crit Acrobatics with a sliver and took us down with Ice Cream Crash. We're definitely close. If I can get a bulk up off at some point before Baxcalibur, then I'll be able to win easily enough. Okay, so literally the next turn, it went like this. First was Noivern, who missed Super Fang, letting us take it down with full health. Dragalge is still a one-shot. Next is Flapple, who missed Dragon Rush, so we were able to get a bulk up off for free before taking it out. Haxorus still a one-shot with Acrobatics, so what's left is Baxcalibur. We hit it with Acrobatics, but it's still living on a sliver. It goes for Ice Cream Crash, but it missed this time, letting us hit it with 1 more Acrobatics, giving us the win. Yet we somehow managed to do that one without even getting hit. The luck I've had in this run is honestly insane. With the Elite Four down, it's time to fight the top champion of the Paldea region, Geeta. I'm gonna be honest, I think she should be much easier than any of the Elite Four. She's not exactly known for being a particularly strong champion. But hey, maybe she'll put up a decent fight this time. Well, in her defense, we didn't beat her on the first try. Most of her team was a one-shot except for Avalugg. He hit us with Avalanche, leaving us in the red, then her Terra Rock Lemora survived with a third of its health left and finishes off. We're pretty close to beating her as it is. I'll give Flamingo an expert belt to boost his super effective moves. I should make Avalugg a one-shot. First up is Sparfa, who goes down with 1 throat chop. Next is Go-Go, who's a one-shot with Acrobatics. Kingambit is a one-shot with low kick. The loser goes down with Throat Chop, Avalug's now a one-shot with Low Kick, and finally is a Terra Rock Lamora, who's now also a one-shot with Low Kick. I mean, I knew Gita had a pretty bad rap as champion, but I'd honestly hoped she'd be at least a little bit more challenging than that, especially considering I only had one Pokemon. As it turns out, Flamigo is pretty much a perfect counter for a whole team. I mean, I didn't even have to use Bulk Up in the end. Well, while that was anticlimactic, the run's not over yet. We've still got to go beat Arven, Cassiopeia, and Nemona before finally beating Professor Sada. Arven's a little lower level than the others, so I'll head over to him first. First up is Greedent, who is insanely tanky. It takes 3 low kicks to take him out, but not before it gets us to half health with Psychic Fangs. Next up is Scovillain, who's a one-shot with Acrobatics. Organical's next, who is one-shot with Low Kick. Toadschool's up next, who's also one-shot with Acrobatics. Second to last is Cloyster, who's a one-shot with Low Kick. Lastly is his Terra Dark Novostiff, who is a one-shot with Low Kick. These late game battles are going pretty well at the moment, though I imagine Sada is not going to be anywhere near as easy as the rest. Anyways, with Arven beaten, we have officially completed the Path of Titans questline. Next it's time to fight Cassiopeia. But before we can get round to that, we're challenged by Director Clavel, who's decided he is Cassiopeia for some reason. First up is Oranguru, who was a one-shot with Throat Chop. Next is a Bomber Snow, who survives an Acrobatics on a Sliver and sets up Aura Veil, making their team take less damage from physical and special attacks. We take it out on the next turn, but now his team is a lot more tanky. Next is Houndoom, who's a one-shot with Low Kick. Gyarados is next, but he's barely taking any damage from Acrobatics. Though I did keep the Expert belt on, so Acrobatics is weaker than usual. We end up trading blows with Acrobatics and Aqua Tail before the Aura Veil wears off, letting us finish it off with one more Acrobatics, but we're low on health. Next is Poltergeist, who's a one-shot with Throat Chop. Lastly is his Terra Grass Meowscarada, who's faster than us and goes to Play Rough. Luckily though it misses, letting us one-shot it with Acrobatics. Well, that was a lot closer than I thought it would be. But anyways, with Clavel dealt with, it's time to fight the big boss of Team Star, Cassiopeia, aka Penny. First up is Umbreon, who survives a Low Kick and hits us with Psychic, doing about a fifth of our health. We take it out with Low Kick. Next is Jolteon, who's faster than us and hits us with Thunder, leaving us on just 18 HP. It then survives an Acrobatics as it goes for Thunder again but misses, letting us finish it off with one more Acrobatics. Next up is Vaporeon, who's a one-shot with Acrobatics. Flareon is next and leads Quick Attack. It should have taken us out, but the friendship mechanic saved us, as Flamigo survived on 1 HP. One Acrobatics took it down, but we're in a lot of trouble because all of our Pokemon know Quick Attack. Leafeon's next, who goes down with 1 Acrobatics. Last the Terra Fairy Sylveon, but it just uses Quick Attack and takes us out. We're definitely close to being able to win, but we might have to wait until Jolteon misses a Thunder. Since Umbreon doesn't hit us too hard anyway, I'm going to set up a Bulk Up on them and hope for a one-shot on Jolteon. Though we still have to hope Thunder misses, or we'll just get taken out by Quick Attack. Well, that went much better. First was Umbreon, who kept using Baby Doll Eyes on me, so I had to use more Bulk Ups than I wanted to make up for the difference. We ended up on half health by the time we took it out. Next up was Jolteon, who used Thunder but missed, letting us take it out with 1 Acrobatics. Next is Vaporeon, who weighed down with 1 Acrobatics. Flareon's next, who hit us with Baby Doll Eyes, lowering our attack, but since our attack was already buffed and Bulk Up, it didn't really matter. They went down with 1 Acrobatics. Next is Leafeon, who was a one-shot with Acrobatics, and finally is a Terra Fairy Sylveon, who also went down with 1 Acrobatics. With Penny beaten, we have officially beaten the Starfall Street questline. We only have one more major battle before we can fight Professor Sada, our rival Nemona. First up is Lycanroc, who hits us with Stone Edge before we take it out with Low Kick. Next up is Pawmot, who's a one-shot with Acrobatics. Gudas next, who goes down with Acrobatics as well, followed by Dunsparce, who survives a Low Kick and hits us with Hyper Drill, leaving us just above red health before we take it out. Hawthorne's next, which went down with 1 Low Kick, and last up is a Terrafire Skeledirge, who tanks an Acrobatics and easily takes us down with Shadow Ball. I mean, I'm pretty sure we can win with a few more tries. Since Lycanroc's Stone Edge doesn't hurt too badly, I'm going to try setting up a Bulk Up on it so we can take out the Dunsparce in 1 hit, so we have more health when getting Skeledirge. 2 tries later, and this is how it goes. Lycanroc's up first and hits us with Stone Edge as we set up a Bulk Up. He goes for another Stone Edge but misses, so we take it out with a bit more health than usual. Pawmot goes down with 1 Acrobatics, followed by Gudra. Next up is Dunsparce, who's now one-shot with Low Kick. Hawthorne's still a one-shot with Low Kick, and last up is a Terrafire Skeledirge. We got lucky and landed a crit with Acrobatics, taken out in 1 hit. I definitely got very lucky with that attempt. If it wasn't for the crit on Skeledirge, I'm honestly not sure if we would have been able to take it out before it took us out. With no mode beaten, all 3 quest lines are done, but we're not finished quite yet. We've got one more quest line to finish, the way home, where we have to battle against the final trainer, Professor Sada. But before we get to battle her, we first have to make our way through Area 0. Okay, look, I know people have their issues with this game, and I mean, rightfully so, with the lag and the pretty mediocre graphics, but I genuinely think the way home and Area 0 make this entire game worth it. Honestly, I'd forgotten how much I love this area of the game. While the quality of the graphics could definitely be better, the general look of the place is probably one of the best in the entire series, second only to the Distortion world. And the music is some of the best in the whole franchise. And to top it all off, the way it wraps up the story as you play through the game is really well done. Honestly, I could gush about Area 0 for ages, but we have a battle to get to. Once we made it through Area 0, we're finally ready to fight Professor Sada. But before that, let's have a look at our stats at level 75. Our attacks are pretty good, and we've got a decent move pool for her team. We've also got pretty decent speed, but there's no way we're going to outspeed her Flutter Mane, which is definitely going to cause some serious problems in this fight. Our defenses aren't the best either, and her team hits pretty damn hard, so it might be a case of if we don't one-shot the enemy, we'll be one-shot ourselves. I'm not really sure how this is going to go. The team is very strong, and I don't really think we'll have much chance to set up bulk ups. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if I have to level up to at least level 90 before we even stand a chance at this. Well, let's give it a go. Yep, not a chance. Civil Wing is a one-shot with acrobatics, but Scream Tail gets us down to just above half health with Play Rough as we get lucky with a crit and take it out for a one-shot. Next is Flutter Mane though, and it outspeeds us and takes us out with one Thunderbolt. Even with a crit giving us more health than we usually would have had, Flutter Mane just hits way too hard. Even if we could set up bulk ups against Civil Wing, it wouldn't matter because Flutter Mane uses special moves. We might have to be faster than Flutter Mane before we even have a chance here. I'm going to grind up to level 80 and see how we do. Okay, 7 tries later, and this is how it goes. First up is Civil Wing, who's a one-shot with acrobatics. Next is Scream Tail, who's slower than us now. We go through 2 rounds of using bulk up, while we get hit with Play Rough, leaving us on half health, when acrobatics takes it down. Flutter Mane's next, who's faster than us and hits us with Thunderbolt, leaving us at only 21 HP. Then we one-shot it with acrobatics. Next up is Sandy Shocks, who's a one-shot with low kick thanks to the bulk ups. Next is Brute Bonnet, who's a one-shot with acrobatics, and last is her Roaring Moon. They were holding a boost for energy, which increases his attack. Then it goes to Stone Edge, but misses. We land a critical low kick, taking it down and winning us the run. That was actually a lot of fun. The early game was pretty easy, but it definitely got more challenging towards the middle. Once we learned bulk up, it made the rest of the mid game pretty easy, but once the base stats started catching up to ours, it became quite difficult again. I'm not the kind of person who tends to use stat buffing moves, so I was really surprised by how much bulk up ended up helping us throughout the run. If it wasn't for that, I imagine I would have been stuck grinding a lot more than I did. This was a pretty good introduction for me to get into these types of challenges. Next time I'll probably use something weaker to make it more challenging throughout the run. If you guys enjoyed the video, let me know in the comments, and let me know about any recommendations you have for future challenges. I'd love to hear from what you guys think. Anyways, with that being said, I will see you all next time.